In Math 1110, they ask us in Chapter 2 and Section 1 to look at the distance formula. Well, I'd like to give you a little background on where it comes from. And you may recall the Pythagorean theorem here, that if you have a right triangle, we have a right angle between the two legs, and the side opposite the right angle is the hypotenuse. So we say the length or the distance of the hypotenuse, if you square it, it's equal to the square of this leg plus the square of this leg. This is the Pythagorean theorem. Now, if we convert the c to distance, and if we take the square root of both sides, take the square root of that, that will give us, in a sense, the c by itself, and then we just take the square root of this side. We now have the distance, the length of side c, is equal to the square of a plus the square of b. Now in our graphing, we're using ordered pairs, as you will see in our next slide. But here we see we're taking the two x values and the two y values, and with arithmetic calculating what those values are, squaring them, and then the square root of that is this hypotenuse. So in a graph, they'll give us this point and this point. We want to find the distance between them. All right, so let's take a look at our next slide here. Now, this is typical graph paper. We have a point right here, and we have a point right there. So this ordered pair is 1, 2, and this ordered pair is over 4 up 6. So these are the ends of the line of our distance, in a sense. And we want to find the length of that line. Well, you might say, well, how many units is this? Well, this is going to be 3 units. Count them, 1, 2, 3. How many units is this? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be the way we would find the slope. And in a sense, the slope will be useful. But putting this into the distance formula that we had, let's do it over here. So we have distance is equal to the square root of, now we said it'll be 4 minus 1 squared plus 6 minus 2 squared. So when we do this calculation, this is going to be 3 squared. This is going to be 4 squared. So this is 9 plus 16. This is going to be the square root of 25. So the distance for D is 5. So if we were to square 5, we'd get, remember, c squared equals a squared plus b squared. C squared is 25. A squared is 9. B squared is 16. And 25 equals 25. So a little short video on the derivation of the distance formula and how we use the Pythagorean theorem for it, tying it into our graphing, where we identify the endpoints of the line and use this formula to find out our values. Now this one worked out nice and even, but sometimes you might end up with, let's say, the square root of 12. That's going to be an irrational number, and you would have to simplify that. That's the square root of 4 times the square root of 3. And the square root of 4 is 2. So that would be 2, the square root of 3. Now this is an exact answer. If you put that into your calculator, you then get a value that is approximate. All right, this will wind this up.